Hello to all my dear followers and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. I'm thrilled you're here, because today we're opening a door most people don't even know exists. We're diving into Miri's incredible method, and under the haunting title Empty Heart, we'll follow a trail that leads straight into the private space where fame and feeling collide. You've seen the smiles, the charm, the effortless chemistry. But have you ever wondered what breathes beneath the glow when the red carpet is rolled back and the dressing room gets quiet? Today, we're going past the glitter to understand what Alina and Alp Navras carry in the silence between scenes, and why the truth might be softer, deeper, and more surprising than anyone expects. Before we begin, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what we uncover together. Now, let's step in. We start by looking at Alina and Alp as the world knows them. Two luminous actors whose faces can shift an entire audience mood with a glance. Their performances pull us into stories we wish we could live in, and their public selves feel familiar, almost like friends we've grown up watching. But attention has a weight. Admiration has a shadow. And the title Empty Heart is not an accusation but an invitation to examine how people who spend their lives breathing life into characters nourish their own inner lives when the lights go off. This isn't about judgment. It's about recognizing that the larger the stage, the quieter the backstage can feel, and that the two of them, like all of us, have afternoons where questions sit heavier than scripts. Here's the twist Miri's method reveals: the surprise isn't a shocking revelation or a secret that detonates headlines. The surprise is the craft of endurance, the way resilience can be rehearsed just as rigorously as a monologue, and the way purpose can be built grain by grain. We tend to think of emptiness as a hollow, as a room where nothing lives. But what if that room is a studio? What if emptiness is the blank canvas waiting for a color neither of them has dared to use before? Alina and Alp have both learned that trying to stuff the space with noise doesn't work. Instead, they've begun to treat it like an echo chamber where you say your truth softly and listen to what returns. To understand how they got here, consider their beginnings. Neither of them leapt from comfort straight into stardom. They worked. They auditioned. They heard no. They waited while phones did not ring and cameras were pointed elsewhere. People see premieres, they don't see the months of training, the restless nights before table reads, the doubt that distorts the mirror. That climb forged habits of discipline and a kind of calm that isn't showy. Every time you've seen Alina hold a scene with restraint or watched Alp let stillness say more than volume, you're seeing the muscle they built when nobody clapped. That same muscle later became the one they used to hold themselves steady when applause finally arrived and made its own demands. Emptiness wears many costumes. In their world, it sometimes looks like being the most seen people in a room and still feeling like the quietest. It can sound like the hush that follows when a set wraps after midnight and the city refuses to sleep with you. It can feel like pressure disguised as praise, the raised expectations that climb higher with every new role they accept. There is also the existential hunger for purpose, the ache to know that all these hours, all this exposure, are connecting to something that endures after the final take. That's where the question becomes sharp. Do you try to fill the space with attention, or do you sift through it to find what's honest? The answer they keep discovering isn't about finding an object to plug the gap. It's about becoming someone for whom the gap is part of the architecture. When Alina takes on a character who wrestles with identity, when Alp plays a man learning what tenderness costs, each scene becomes a mirror angled inward. They don't use roles as camouflage, they use them as microscopes. Through that focus, they trace a line from fable to fact, from performance to personal. The work doesn't erase the emptiness, it repurposes it. Dialogue becomes a rehearsal for life. Silence on camera becomes practice for the silence at home, where there are no cue cards, only the simple honesty of how you feel and what you are brave enough to say. Of course, their connection with you matters. Social media can be a minefield, but it can also be a bridge. When Alina posts about a long day and the relief of tea in a quiet kitchen, or when Alp shares a book that steadied him during a storm, they're not just curating an image. They are, at their best, extending a hand, saying we are here too, human first and famous second. Disconnection breeds emptiness, connection dissolves it. The messages you send, the kindness in your comments, the patient understanding when they disappear to breathe. It all forms a thread that reminds them the world can hold them gently when they need it most. Watch their evolution and you'll see the winding road everyone takes but few admit to. There are hills where roles align with soul and everything clicks like a lock turning. There are valleys where projects misfire and self-belief shrinks to a whisper. Growth is not a straight line. It's a mosaic made from wins and wrong turns. When expectations go unmet or a plan dissolves under real life, emptiness can rush in. But their pattern is becoming clear, they let the wave pass through. They step back, step softly, and step again. That is not passivity, it's stamina. In the awkward space after disappointment, they resist dramatics and choose craftsmanship. That choice, repeated, becomes character. And while it's easy to imagine that a relationship is the solution to inner ache, Alina and Alp know that love cannot be asked to fill what self-knowledge must furnish. Their partnership is not a plaster, it's a practice. They show up for each other without making each other responsible for feelings neither created. On uneventful days, this looks like mundane rituals, quiet breakfasts, shared playlists, a walk where they talk less and notice more. On harder days, it is the courage to say I need an hour and the grace to answer take two. They are discovering that closeness is not an antidote to emptiness, but a companion to the effort of transforming it. Consider how their projects echo these lessons. A role that demands vulnerability insists they find where vulnerability lives when nobody is watching. A scene about forgiveness makes them rehearse the words carefully enough to mean them off-screen. When a director asks for stillness, they remember how useful stillness can be when a rumor swirls or a headline bites. The work is a gym for the heart, and each production adds a small new strength. They do not chase the illusion that one perfect script will make life make sense forever. Instead, they practice noticing the simple satisfactions, finishing a day proud of a choice they made, thanking a crew member by name, leaving a set knowing they listened. There is a quieter surprise too. As they lean into self-knowledge, they are learning that emptiness sometimes signals a boundary not yet drawn. Maybe the calendar is too crowded. Maybe a yes that sounded generous was actually fear in disguise. The honest inventory can sting. But it's also where a new kind of ease takes root. They've begun to say no when the cost is their peace, to treat their time not as a public resource but as a garden. The cultivation is gradual. Better sleep, better food, better friends, and better questions. What brings us alive? What calms us? What can we give without resentment now, and what must we save for later? Each answer tightens the weave, and the space that once felt empty starts feeling intentional. If any of this resonates, it's because you've felt it too. Maybe you've stood in a room full of people and felt unmoored. Maybe you've hit a goal and wondered why the sky didn't change color. Alina and Alp are not instructing anyone, they are simply modeling the slow, unglamorous work of turning inward with curiosity. Think of the heart not as a cup waiting to be filled, but as a hearth waiting to be tended. Fire doesn't roar all day. It is coaxed, protected, fed, and allowed to rest. When they are wise, they build their days around that fire. When they forget, they forgive themselves, and start again. That is their method now. Routine that respects the self, ambition tempered with presence, love that doesn't pretend to be magic but keeps choosing to be kind. So let's gather the threads. Under the title Empty Heart, we did not find a scandal. We found construction. We found two artists who have decided that emptiness is not a verdict but a cue. They make meaning on purpose, through their craft, through deliberate care, and through a relationship that is tender without pretending to be perfect. The strength they exhibit is not loud. It's the kind that closes a door softly, reads one more page, practices one more take, and tells the truth even when the truth is I'm tired today. This is not the end of anything. It's a way of living. And if you're listening closely, maybe it's permission you needed, to pause, to pay attention, and to write your own answer in the space you once feared. Tell me in the comments what line reached you, what moment in your own life echoed as you listened. Did this perspective surprise you? Do you recognize the shape of emptiness and the practices that soften it? Your thoughts turn this channel into a conversation, and your presence makes Turkish Spotlight Secrets more than just a page on a screen. If this episode moved you, tap like, share it with someone who would feel seen, and of course, subscribe so you're here the next time we peel back another layer. Until then, be gentle with yourselves. Meaning isn't a treasure you stumble over. It's the path you walk, step by simple step, heart by patient heart, the same way Alina Boz and Alp Navras are learning to walk it, together, and from within.